Hi everyone, I am so excited to release my brand new series to you all called Unmasked. This for me has been like a passion for a long time, and I'm really excited that I can finally bring everything that's going on in my head out to you right now on a massive platform. So I'm really excited to start getting involved and meeting people and talking about traumas and mental health issues that they've been experiencing. So on that note, today we are going to be meeting a very good friend of mine. His name's Richie J. Now, he's involved in the Men's Wilderness Weekender Retreat. So this is something that's happening at the end of January. So today I thought, well, better not to get him in if we are talking about mental health. Now, today we're going to be talking about men's mental health in particular and how it affects so many men out there. And unfortunately, the suicide rates in men are increasing. And that is something that I really want to just debunk, decrease, because for me, there are so many positive outlets there for men to release. So today, as I said, we're being real man to man right now. We're talking about our feelings, we're talking about our emotions, and once and for all, I want to get rid of that stigma attached to men's mental health. So let's go chat to Richie. Richie J, there he is, my man. Good to see you.
I don't mean to break up a hug, but we're gonna go left heart to heart.
Heart to heart. That's a real hug, man.
There you go, brother.
Heart to heart, mate. I'll tell you what, it's a pleasure having you here today, my man. Come inside, come inside.
Hey guys.
Today we're going to be making some magic, Richie. We're going to be talking about men's mental health in particular, because obviously this is something you're doing with your men's wilderness retreat. So this is something that's so important to us both, and in particular, you know, myself going through mental health, depression, anxiety, suicidal tendencies for so long. So I'm really excited to kind of start a conversation about this, and I thought, you know what, it'd be absolutely spectacular to get the man, the myth, the legend, Richie J involved in this. So
it's great to be here, mate. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah. Well, let's go chat. Let's go chat. Let's go start the conversation. So, Richie, today we're talking about men's mental health, and obviously this is something that's so important to the both of us because we are both men, and for me in particular as well, suffering depression, anxiety, and having suicidal tendencies for most of my life as well. This is something that I really wanted to get you involved in because of course you're doing your men's retreat at the end of this month, so I really want to get that out as well. But right now I want to talk about men's mental health and why for some reason it still has that stigma attached to it. You know, there's not enough awareness getting out there about it, but not only that, for some reason we as men feel like we can't talk about our emotions. And that's something I want to completely debunk as well, and obviously say that it is okay to talk about your feelings even if you're a man. You know, you need to be open and honest. So for you, what does men's mental health mean?
What does it mean? Well, I mean, geez, mental health on a whole is how we manage our day to day, right? You know, so how we manage to keep on top of our mental state. But how men's mental health relates with what we're trying to accomplish is the fact that there is an issue out there and a stigma based on men to man up, to be something that we're expected to be. To not be able to show any signs of failure, signs of defeat, signs of not being able to handle what you've got on your plate. You know, we're held into this social standing. And, you know, it's funny because we've kind of done it to ourselves, really. I mean, historically, men were the leaders, the breadwinners, everything. And now we're kind of catching up to this equality state. Not there completely, but we're getting there. And now it's like we're holding on to that history of not being able to be real. But modern day calls for us to need to be real. Modern day requires us to have to actually deal with our emotions. Before, we'd be able to just say no, pardon me, into the kitchen with you, away I go, I'm going to my den, and I don't need to talk about anything. You know, and that's what men historically set up. And so now we're living in a day where we you know, it's a much better situation. That we're in a situation where we're able to be real, but we're held back by the constraints of the past, of not being real. I put forward that actually, you know, men think that it's manly to hold a front, but I actually say you're more of a man if you're able to be able to open up.
100%.
To be able to be vulnerable. We're defined by what the expectations of men are, and it's not just society it's different factors. You know, society has placed this on us because we're supposed to lead, we're supposed to earn. You know, still to this day, the earning rates are off kilter. Men still earn more than women, and that expectation on a man holds them in a place where if they were to fail at that, then all of a sudden I'm not a man. You know.
Very good point.
It's a funny situation trying to navigate the modern day balance because that old system it's not serving us anymore.
Yeah, and I know for me personally as well. So, being in the film industry and in particular wanting to be an influencer in the mental health industry, and you know really get positive messages out there. When I started this years and years and years ago, when I created the documentary A Better Place with NLSF. I was getting constantly bullied for showing my sensitive side. Now, this wasn't in particularly coming from random people I don't know. This was coming from like friends. This was coming from people that I've spent a lot of my life with, saying, hang on a second, you know, why are you being so open? Why are you being so emotional? Why are you talking about all of this stuff? And for me, that became tough because when I brought this project to schools, you know, I did motivational speaking at schools, talking about mental health and talking about anti-bullying, drug addiction, that type of thing. You know, there'd always be those people in the crowd that would just laugh or kind of bully you because you are a guy being so open about your feelings. Now, this isn't something that a lot of people are used to, like you said, but this is why I wanted to talk about men's mental health. Because I feel like it is our duty to get rid of the stigmas attached to that and really, I guess, make it cool to be open and emotional with the way you feel as a man.
Oh, you got a bit of a task on your hands to make it cool, my man. I mean, shivers, you know, what's defined as cool in school is certainly not being vulnerable or being real.
Yeah.
You know, I totally relate with what you say about being bullied or teased or they're all much of a muchness, aren't they? But even at Christmas, when I was talking about my men's retreat with my family, my cousin was giving me shtick. She's a girl. She's like a couple of years older than me, and she's going, "Oh, you've always been that touchy-feely type, haven't you?" And all this. And I'm like, "Hey, what do you mean by that?" You know? The other day, I posted this video to talk about my men's retreat, and one of the guys at work, he goes, "Oh yeah, I saw your video. Didn't watch it."
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know, buddy. You know, it's like, why is that our go-to response? And it's because, and I found it in Australia. I feel I've just spent, you know, I've spent the last 11 years living over in Europe, in UK and continental Europe. And I remember when I first moved to England, I took my Australianisms of dealing with friends over to England. And we are very harsh in Australia. I tell you what, with friends like mine at school, I didn't need enemies because we would just rip on each other all day, every day. I'm grateful for it because it's given me a really thick skin. I'm able to take criticism quite well because my friends ran me through the numbers. But I went over to England and I'd say this sort of stuff to English mates, like, "Oh yeah, blah, 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 blah." And they're like, "Whoa, Rich, like, hey, take it easy, man." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I'm just being a bloke, being a mate." And they're like, "No, you're being rude." I'm like, "Yeah." And it really caused me to reflect on that. And changed the way I interact with people a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And look, a lot of it is about culture. It's about upbringing. It's about environment. You know, a lot of the time there's already this concreted idea on how we raise kids, you know, raise a male, how we raise a female, okay? There's already that idea out there. There's classes for that on how to raise your kids. So if we can kind of somewhat change the way we bring kids into a certain environment, hopefully that will change the way we perceive things as we grow up and grow older. Now, I know for me, I grew up in an environment where I guess mental health still wasn't a big thing, you know, a big deal. My family did all they could to be there for me and help me through these situations, but even they were undereducated as well with the way mental health is. So if we can already kind of put that idea in people's heads right now, so by the time we have kids, they're going to be able to be more emotionally stronger and also feel and know that it's okay to be open and honest about the way they feel, because there is still too many stigmas attached. So a lot of the work that you want to do as well is really important, because, you know, you're really trying to get men out of their heads and kind of into a new way of thinking. So let's chat about that.
Well, yeah. Before we move on, though, I feel like what you say is really valid, and it does come from a parental, the parents being able to talk, and that's something that isn't in a father-son relationship in a general field. Being able to be vulnerable in front of your dad. Your dad had, on the flip side, and he'd feel that it was appropriate to go, hey, suck it up. You're a man. That's what we're imposed with. All of our upbringing. That's what we're told, right? And so I mean, it's a big task to try and change the structures of history of the hunter-gatherer style of we're gonna go do the man stuff and you can stay and do the lady stuff and I think still rite of passage experiences where the man's supposed to take the son out into a 14-year-old go out to the bush, go hunting. I went hunting. My dad took me hunting. I'm like, I don't want to go hunting. But then all of a sudden I find my brother and I in this sibling rivalry of who can kill the most rabbits.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's absurd, but that's the consensus, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need to take your kids through.
Yeah, and look,
especially your male kids.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me as well.
How do we change that?
Yeah, well, how do we change that? And I mean, well, I'll tell you from personal experience because I'm definitely vibing with what you're saying because I know for me, when I was growing up, I was always the sensitive kid. I was always the emotional, sensitive kid, and I kind of just didn't fit in that whole man club type stuff. I wouldn't go out and play sport like a normal man would. I wouldn't go to the gym like a normal man would. All that stuff. I felt like I was very different to my friends, and because I was different and didn't, I guess, fit that socially acceptable manhood, I would be bullied for that because
perpetuated.
Exactly. Yeah. And to be emotional and to be sensitive shouldn't be a crime. It's as simple as that. Instead of doing all those man things, I would put my time and my talent into things such as this. Talking about mental health, I would make films, I would make videos. That to me is really important. And I even meet people now, and this is funny, and you're gonna laugh at this. A lot of the people I meet, one of the first things they say is, "Are you gay?" And I get that. I get that all the time. And I find it so funny because it's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Exactly. That's just equating a man to being a woman because he's in touch with his emotions or something. Yeah.
This is why this chat is so important. Because for me, I love who I am. I love the fact that I can go out there, talk about my feelings on camera, talk to the masses about opening up and being real. That to me is more important than going out and doing backflips on a dirt bike and getting all macho and stuff like that. So I've always been frowned upon for being that different, but this is what my mission is, a part of my mission is at least, is to show that just because you're a man doesn't mean that you have to fit into those socially acceptable manhood traits, okay? You can be your own version of yourself. As I said, I love being me, and I will be doing this for the rest of my life, let me assure you. So, I mean, how do you feel about that? Can you relate to that?
Well, I'd love to be able to do backflips on a motorbike.
Yeah, I mean, anyone would. Anyone would. Yeah.
So, you know what I did last year? I did my motorbike journey.
Yeah.
I rode my Yamaha XT660 Darkwing is her name. So Darkwing I rode from Cape Town to Berlin, and it was a big rite of passage, I guess you could say it was in a sense. It was a 30-year-old rite of passage, and it was something that when I look at why I did it, I mean, I know what influenced it, and I know why I made the ultimate decision. But there was certainly an element of proving myself, proving my manliness in a way. So yeah, I mean, we all fall prey to that. You said maybe you. I think you might be impervious to it. We all fall guilty to this idea of having to be something for others. And so I guess with my with what I want to do with people is I want to help them to kind of know themselves and understand themselves better in order to be more comfortable with who they are. So it's not about proving, it's about being.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously you're doing this with your wilderness retreat as well. So let's get right into that, because a lot of the points we've touched on so far are so important for you, and that's exactly why you are getting involved in this men's wilderness retreat. So what are some of the things that men can learn from going there?
A lot. So the men's retreat is structured around the idea of giving guys a morning ritual that they can take into their daily life. So we'll be doing a bunch of exercises, things such as meditation. Personally, I've been meditating for years. It's not a panacea, it doesn't solve all the problems, but it's huge at helping you cage the monkey mind, be a bit more in touch with your emotions, or at least conscious of your emotions, more present. It's such a beneficial thing. If someone were to do this consistently throughout their lives, it has the potential to change lives. As does journaling. Journaling is another activity that we'll do. I've got a couple of different types of journaling styles that I'll teach guys at this retreat. We'll do exercise, of course, because it's good to take care of your physical body. It also improves willpower, strength, confidence in yourself. We'll do some yoga. I'm sure guys also have a lot of stigma surrounding yoga. That's usually placed in the girls' camp. You know? For me, even, I was a bit adverse to yoga for a while. I remember when I was meditating and my ex-girlfriend, she was doing yoga. And she tried to get me along, and I was like, that's your thing. You know, you do yoga, I'll do my meditation, and we can leave it that way. And then I finally succumbed and I did it, and at first I remember I was that guy who was looking around the room, checking what everyone else was doing, looking at everyone else, worrying what everyone else was thinking about me. The thing we don't realize is that while you're thinking about what everyone else is thinking about you, they're thinking about what everyone else is thinking about them. Everyone's just thinking about themselves, really. You know, so drop it all. But the yoga, the penny dropped and it clicked, and it was about internalizing. It was about going in and focusing on your body and your movement and feeling you and being in you only. Not external. And that was very powerful revelation for me. So yoga's one. We'll do cold exposure as a la Mr. Iceman Wim Hof. He's a pioneer with the cold exposure. I don't know if you know much about this.
No.
But this stuff is life-changing in itself. It boosts your immune system, your autoendocrine system. It increases your your strength to challenges in your life. So cold exposure. Another one is priming. Priming is a great exercise. So basically, we'll do all these different activities. In amongst them, because it's New Year, we'll be doing things like goal setting, fear setting. I'd love to talk to you about fear setting in a moment. But we'll do these, and so it's a combination of them. And then out of the lot, guys will be able to select the ones that they connect with, that work for them, and then structure a personalized morning routine that they can put into their own life. Now, some guys have to get up at 5:30 and go straight to work. For them, it might be more of a wind down routine at the end of the day. Either way, it's something that they can do daily that compounds, that builds on itself, that allows them to gain momentum in life and be more in touch with ownership of yourself, ownership of the day, you know, moving forward.
Yeah. Let's leave it with this. I've got one question for you, and it's a very important question that will help a lot of men out there. But if there is a guy out there right now struggling,
there is
mental health, and there's many.
Mate, there's six
many
guys die to suicide every day.
Exactly. And the sad part is that those rates are increasing. So this is why I really want to take action with you on this matter. And so, what would you say to a guy right now? It doesn't matter what age group watching this, knows that he is going through some sort of mental trauma. What could you say to him right now that could literally save his life?
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Talk to someone.
Yeah.
Release that ego that you're not allowed to open up and talk to someone. Even if it's something like Lifeline, the Suicide Callback Center, Movember offer things like this. You know, there's so many services, Gotcha for Life, that will help lend you an ear, allow you to open up. But also, if you have the opportunity, if you're so privileged, someone close to you, someone who you feel like won't judge you, who will just listen. They might not even offer feedback. Just someone who you can just kind of. Because the thing with the suicide rates increasing and suicide on a whole is that often it's periodical. It's this moment where someone's caught in such a depressive state that they feel like there's no way out. But really, that time lapse can pass. It will pass. All 100%. Things, this too shall pass. All things will pass. But so just capitalizing on that time, being conscious of it, and finding someone to talk to. So if you were to notice that you are dwindling into some sort of depressive state, reach for the phone. Call Lifeline. Call someone. Just have a chat.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree. And look, that's exactly why this series is so important for all of you out there, because we want to help, really pull away these stigmas. And this is why the series is called Unmasked. Because, we want to unmask the mental health that goes on within a human being. It happens to each and everyone somewhere in life. So please, if you are suffering some sort of mental health problem right now, please reach out, friends, family. There are so many services out there where you can get the help that you definitely do deserve. And I'm gonna leave.
I just want to touch on that, because actually friends and family can be a tough one. Family especially. I mean, you talk yourself about the idea of being the odd one out, and that you were open with your emotions and feelings, and that caused you to be slightly ostracized. And that wouldn't have helped. And often guys might want to turn to a family member and tell them what's really going on, but the family member might not know how to deal with it. Might not know how to take this news. Might feel like they've failed in a sense because their offspring or their family member is not feeling like they're fitting in. And that's their fault. So family members is a tough one. Friends, the right friend can really help. But really, like, seeking some sort of professional help, if it is as far as psychiatry or something, that, God, great, of course, if you feel like you need that. But even just Lifeline, come to the Wilderness Weekender.
Exactly.
The Wilderness Weekender is not only about giving guys the tools to be able to gain momentum, build and find their purpose in life. We were talking about this earlier, whether your purpose is something as grand as your occupation, your contribution, or if it's just a hobby. Getting along. Sailing, skateboarding. But the other thing about the Wilderness Weekender is building a safe space where guys are able to talk to each other.
Definitely. And I feel like, honestly, you're going to achieve that really well, and definitely with this series and everything involved. So please, if you want to check out his retreat, it's happening very, very soon. All the links are in the bio. January 19th. Link is in the bio. Definitely check it out. But Richie, thank you so much, my man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been great.
Thanks, man. I'm really excited to get this series out there to all of you, because obviously it's about making the world a better place and having a more empathetic understanding of the way mental health is going on these days. So please, if you want to be a part of the series, feel free to send me a video. I want to know your story. I want to get to know you, and definitely I'll get you in. We'll film a show together, because your story is definitely important. It is as simple as that. If you'd like to be a part of it, my email address is in the bio as well. It's inquiries@posdayeveryday.net. So I'd love to hear from you.
This guy's on a mission. He's gonna change the world. Get involved. He's doing great things. You're a legend, Cripsy.
Tell you what, appreciate you. I appreciate, well, together we are gonna really change the world and make a positive impact, and that's what it's all about. And I'm glad that I can finally channel all this inner motivation in my head and bring it out to the masses to really talk about these issues that are going on in the world. So I'm feeling really excited and very positive about everything that's to come. So hope to see you again soon.
Have a great day.
Yeah, Pos Day every day.
Yes, brother.